Hello. Hi. Welcome. And salutations. Not much happened before I came before you. Before? Because this is the first one. Welcome to TRANSIENCE, SHAPER. I have some problem with the sound alerts, it seems. Resonant bandpass now. No. We have to start with the sound. I figured it would be a wonderful first episode if our source of everything, and maybe our focus for the whole episode, was a little sine wave. So, while that isn't immune to a little filtering, I'm going to make an oscillator, and it's going to be set to sine. This is a simple little program I don't have a lot of experience with, so I'll probably be fumbling around a little. But I know that to get started, we connect a node creator to this oscillator, and I could just turn it on. This is bespoke synth. It's very fun to work with out of the free or open source modular environments that I've tried. With the pitch, I could give it lower. Well, I'm going to have to remember not to press those buttons, or I'll have an emotional meltdown. It is cable too. But if I want something that I can hear, I can keep the pitch a bit high. We could even put it at 440 hertz. Maybe a little quieter than that, since it's so solidly in the middle of our hearing range. Now, this is a little, I guess we could call it a little boring. Nothing's really going on here. I'll find a better sequencer. We'll start with this one. This is a fun little bespoke synth sequencer that I find very, very fun to use for sound design. A little less for explicit musicianship. I can change each ring as a note. And it has a rhythm. So in this one, it's 5. I could keep this one on the standard 4. Maybe give it 40 correctly. Maybe 40 isn't correct. And we might notice that I'm not making something terribly musical here. This is our starting point. And we're going to be making a sound more than we're making a nice, well-constructed symphony. And it might qualify as its own kind of symphony. I'm giving it a nice beat, though. We have the two-step here to ground things. That'll be a kind of metronome. It could add a structure to a drone. This one's the envelope. It lets us change the characteristics of the amplitude every time a trigger occurs. So with the vertical line, it will start immediately, or we can make it fade in. I would like the release. These are very interesting releases. What? Oh, interesting. We have some pre-made shapes here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hopefully this will get a lot more fascinating, and maybe a little more interesting to listen to. I'm sure there's randomization tools here, but we won't get into that right now. As I said, I'm not terribly familiar with this program, so there's some processing time in which I am remembering the name of what I want so I can find it alphabetically. When we move a wire, much like a real modular synthesis setup, the audio is no longer connected. There might be some pops, some sudden volume. That's not something I can do much about. Yeah, it's a very beautiful program. There's some very interesting environments I've found that qualify more as live coding, and I would definitely recommend them, although I don't have their names off the top of my head. And they look a little less fancy than this, but would remind you of a text-based game like Rogue or something evoking that, like Caves of Cud or something, with little moving around ASCII characters. So if we turn up the amount here, we can hear the delay. You've probably heard a delay before. It's a pretty common thing in modern music. Perhaps a pitch shifter. This keeps the pitches from the sequencer, but it lets me bend them at will. If I right-click, or use whatever input method you might use, I can then apply another sine wave to it. Non-linear dog called midiness. Midiness? That sounds very interesting. I would love to look at it. My plan currently is to work with Bespoke. One thing I like about Bespoke is that it goes all the way on the feeling of a modular synth. And after streaming this for about an hour, I can go up and I can click a button to save the whole hour of audio. So for sound design purposes, it's very useful.
it lets you just save the whole thing and go back to it later if you want to use it. But this sine wave is a low frequency. We call these LFOs, or low frequency oscillator. I can make it a little flatter. I can change the bias to low or high. I can change the length, which means that for some of the period it won't be active at all. And I can shuffle it, which I definitely want to do, because I want a little bit of randomness in here. And make it a little faster. I can move the pitch shifter first, and that makes the delay much more interesting. Yeah. One thing I like about sine waves and working with them directly is, while they're not very harmonically interesting, they do keep themselves very relaxing, unless you add harmonics to them with something like distortion, which I will be getting to that. There's quite a lot of options in this menu. We have a whole pitch bender here that will do a similar thing to what we just did. I'm not sure. Let's see what white keys does. This should map everything to a sort of C major scale and its associated node. Interesting how making it more conventionally harmonic with this patch actually makes it sound a little more dissonant to me. Yes, this is a very good show for headphones, I would say. Although currently we are very much in mono sound. Speaking of that, though, I could add something to the effect chain. I believe reverb should give me a little bit of width. Another good thing about Bespoke is that it will show you very good help when you mouse over things. Here it's telling me that a value of 0 will make all frequencies decay at the same rate, which tells me what 0 and what 100 are in the dampness much more effectively than if I had to test every little thing out myself. Wolfgun's projections, I'm not familiar. But here's a little thing that I like to do. I like to take something like this and then add another instance of the same effect. This is very hard to do a lot of the time when you're working with physical instruments, because you don't tend to get multiple versions of the same thing as often as you can just duplicate them digitally. If I put the delay in a different place, that will change the sound, but it will also keep a delay from where I had it originally. But another thing that you can do with delay that I really like, and you may see a little bit on the show, if I can help it, is here I can make it short. And now you see the delay slider thinks it's much farther to the top. Gives me much more granular control over short delays. This is an effect all on its own.
Ancient free orange.
Oh, that one worked. That's very loud on my ears. I hope it's not too loud on stream. And I don't know if it's occurred to anyone yet. Oh, there it is. There's Kitty Rixie coming to the same conclusion that I'm about to come to. Delay lengths should be automated. I'm going to leave this one as is, and I'm going to automate the longer one. Because I think that makes a much more fun sound.
Good Meridian summer.
Indeed. This is a little fast. I was looking for a much more subdued effect than this. Let's move this a little bit farther in. It seems we get a lot of grain automating this parameter. This is so cable too. Yes, these cables are getting rather busy. The interesting thing is, in the case of this stream, the two cables are going to our left and right channels. And let me tell you, you wouldn't want them to only be going to one channel. Maybe you'd like to have surround sound, 4 or more channels. But that's not a setup that most folks have. The opposite of FOMO. Modular on 7.1 surround sound would very likely kill a man. Or at least inflict a deadly disease. So, a lot of folks aren't as aware of this style of synthesis. But there's something called additive synthesis. Maybe it's more common now. It used to be very unpopular because we couldn't really do it with technology that we had. And I'm not going to be doing anything complicated or impressive here. But the concept of additive synthesis is that you start with a sine wave, and then you add another. I believe there's a module. To split these, but I can't just do that. So now we have one that's going to white keys and one that isn't. But we can do a little more with that. I'm going to look at my note effects. I'm going to apply a note delayer. Now, unlike our normal delay module, this is just going to delay the signal sent through. So now they're a little offset. The pitch shift now sounds like a much more stable oscillator. We can really hear it go up and down because there's always sound going on. I am interested, though, in the suggestion I got in the beginning. So I'm going to look at what we have in the way of filters. I don't actually know where this will go, because it's not under filters themselves. Let's see if we can do it with an EQ. No. That will just be an effect channel on its own. A bog would be a wonderful place to listen to sounds such as this. It's quite interesting to me how difficult it is for me to find a general use filter. This will work. This is what we call a parametric EQ, although it's just called EQ in this case. I'm going to send this one through. The wires are getting a little messy, but that's fine. Now we have types. We have low pass. We have band pass. See, it's only happening to half of it. So, now that we have this, we can make a filter sweep by modulating this one. Very aggressively if we want. And a little longer. That might be a little too long. If we set it to 3, it will still be offbeat, but it will add to the sort of 5 and 4 we have going on up there. We'll disable these others. Bespoke also gives you the ability to close a module if it's getting too cramped, which at this point it kind of is. We don't have to look at that all of the time, because I'm going to add a new EQ. For the whole thing, enjoy this moment of silence. Think of this moment of silence. Proteus. I don't think I know of it. I like that you put games in quotes. That makes it very interesting from the jump. I believe I can change the opacity of these windows, and I may do that in the future. Here, though. Let's think. It does not give me rollovers for these. You can see their shapes a little bit. I really like notch filters because I like to create very harmonically rich sounds and then pull away from them, which is actually what subtractive synthesis is. But subtraction is something you add very frequently to other forms. I'll have to look at those links later. I also wish electronics always made noises like this. I'm having trouble fully understanding how to move the bottom of the elephant, but perhaps I just disable it and move it. No. Nope. We'll shuffle this one as well, just to sort of double up. And then if we bias it down, it'll sit in a much more interesting place to notch filter. I hope your breakfast is wonderful. A bit too grid aligned. Yes. You see, I have a solution to that I will get to in a moment. I think one thing that is affecting that is the nature of these LFOs. Because they are linked directly to the tempo. And I could make my own LFOs, and I expect to do it. But for now, we need to ease in. We need to do what's easily accessible. If you want to jump in and do many hard things too quickly, you'll find your workflow a little stifled. Happy Lab sounds like this, as you slowly lose your hearing. So, let's move that a little, because I'm getting very used to those pitches. And then, you see up at the top left here, there's a few windows that are here by default, much like the gain splitter and outputs. It gives me a scale that we're not using right now because all of our notes are custom listed. a bunch of tuning options. And then we have this, which is where all of the timing is pulling from. So, to start with, I can offset things just a little. But that won't really change the ticking clock nature. I could, however, affect the swing a little bit. And, of course, this is the time signature that you might find on sheet music. I've just made it 11/4. It's slowed it down a bit. And the swing is much more confused now because it's swinging around a very different time signature. Willy Wonka. I feel like I'm covering up my face like I'm out at a store during a pandemic. So I'll make this EQ smaller. But of course, this has a free route, which we haven't used yet, but is by default here on the tempo, for the reason that controlling the tempo with the tempo is a little dangerous to do. Oh, I see. It's this slider. And another thing you can do when you've taken several steps forward is to take a few steps back, but not the last few that you made. I'm not hitting Control Z on an art program. What if I simply turned that off? What if even I turned this one off? What an interesting sound. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting something like this. And since we're sitting with oscillators this time, let's just keep going. But let's really sharpen this sine wave. And we'll add a completely different source for the MIDI notes. One thing that I would like to do, I believe, is bring back the note creator.
Ooh. I wasn't expecting something like this. Going to create the tallest note in history. I'm not sure what a tall note would be. We'll keep this one free too. Unfortunately, I can't apply another LFO to this slider. But you see how changing an LFO is very fun. So maybe... no. This is not working. Oh, I see. Now I can treat it like a normal window, but it's still not real. If we look at the modulators, though, there's a lot of modulators, and I don't know what most of these do. Oh. This might go nowhere. I have no idea what this is. Oh. Interesting. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that a lot. That might be a little silly. Let's go to the phase. What will that do? Well, not much. It would seem that because we have a drone going on here, it's not going to do a lot with the envelope, but perhaps the filter. Increase the resonance. It seems that this is a filter envelope, so maybe if we shorten the duration. Ah, that's much better. Wow, wow, wow. Oh.
Oh, I'm going to
Use this tool a lot, I can already tell. This seems to evolve
over time.
Who can say where this will end up? It certainly won't end up anywhere that I'm familiar with. This makes me want to look at other oscillators. I believe the effects chain is introducing some of that grain. Unintentionally. I will be honest. Streaming this requires that I run it through a less than ideal audio subsystem. So the performance is not as good as I would like. Let's look for some more stereo, I think. I won't touch the granulator right now.
This is water. This is water.
You know, I can't disagree. I will take a drink. See if we can stereoize with a ring modulator. If you know what those words I just said are, you might think, that's a little weird. But if I can find where that splitter is... Where would that splitter be? Audio effects. Indeed. So, instead of going straight to that EQ, we can go to the splitter. Goodbye to the drone for a moment.
Let's simplify that a little
bit. It looks like the grain is coming from the delay modulation. Perhaps there's a delay module that's much more meant
for that sort of thing.
So, I don't quite like things coming out of only one ear. Oh, and this splitter is not acting how I expected it to. This is very dangerous. I don't know if I trust sending it directly into output. Listen to how loud that is. Can I limit this? Perhaps a compressor. But the compressor could connect them together again. Certainly not. I suppose it must happen beforehand. Oh, we'll get to you. These wires are a little hectic. Mix 1. So the way a compressor works, it can be a little confusing to a lot of folks who aren't familiar with it. Especially if it's just like this and there's no visual. But it takes a threshold, that's an audio level, and then it reduces it by a ratio, and it has attack and release similar to triggers up here. You can look ahead to be safe, but turning the ratio all the way up and the threshold down effectively lowers the volume of something, while not lowering the volume of the quiet bits. Well, now we have a new effect change, so I can do whatever I want over here. Let's look at this. I don't know what this is. This is the filter I was looking for. Let's put that before the compressor so we don't do that over and over again. This is a very nice frequency. Makes a sort of radio sound. A fax machine. We could add another band pass here. We could add a peak. Doesn't have as much of a noticeable reaction because it's going to get caught by the compressor a little bit. We could also make it go down for an effective notch like before. And then, I suppose, just no filter. I do like what's happening over here, though. Look at how Fubble's going. Look at all the places that Fubble's have taken these little points. What happens if I draw again? I do love this. I love this little line creature. I'm not much of an artist, but I imagine you could do some very creative things by fusing visual art with this module. More music indeed. How it's stretching out parts of it.
It starts with a very fast and slow pattern before it gets more chaotic. The cool S. I am not sure if I can do that without lifting my hand.
I want to add this oscillator back in.
Maybe I can move this over here. Now, you might have noticed we didn't actually add any
Stereo when we passed everything through these ring modulators.
But now that I've remembered, let's start. Make sure that we're 100 wet, or 1 wet, since we're controlling the values
Like that. You know what
I want to do? Let's synchronize these up for a comfortable experience. What was it? What was my number? 4?
in that?
And maybe 4 is a little too slow for me. Maybe 4NT? Shout out to VOD watchers. Oh, we're coming up on 1 hour, so I'm going to make sure that this gets saved. But I think we could make one more tweak before that happens. I don't know what glide does. Maybe nothing. I don't know why they're accelerating and then slowing down. There's no shuffle. Interesting. And after we save the first bit, I'm going to get a little more aggressive, I think.
What does this sound like into here instead? Hmm. Interesting. The frequency shifts were desynced. Well, we've written the last, well, it says 30 minutes. Hopefully it's the full hour. Let me double check my settings. Record buffer length, 120 minutes. So, oh, that's 2 hours, isn't it? Oh, look at me. Look at me. Something that's interesting, by the way, is that while the settings window of this program is up, you may be able to notice that it has the same UI style. Thank you, John. John? I'm always flipping between them. But we have a lot of, you know, settings. Oh, I don't know what that does. I'm a little scared now. And there is LFOs on these settings. Now, I was hoping that this setting would have a visual effect, perhaps UI scale. Oh, we can see the UI up top. That's interesting. There's a bunch of hotkeys in this program for like entering text, and I'm going to have to pull those up for the stream so that I can start using them. Graphics are where it's really good, though. For example, there's a Lysageus, which I'm not drawing. But we have a background color. With red, green, and blue. We have motion trails. I believe that's you can see while moving around. If I were to turn it up much more. Let's get rid of that, though. And all of these things are modulatable. If I wanted to be more green, for example, I could only be here occasionally. But again, I'm not doing that. It requires the settings window to be open, and it kind of gets rid of some of the fun visuals of the show. But I think an important core of modular synthesis is the ability to modulate everything. And so now we're going to apply a normal audio effect, and then maybe mess around with some signaling. Signaling? Signal pathing? I don't know the term for it.
Men. We're just innocent men.
Thank you. So, I have everything going in here.
If I improve the output of the compressor, or I compress it a little less, change the volume here. That will change the level of each thing, you know. This will be louder or quieter than this, and this. But I'm interested in maybe just adding some distortion. Adding distortion to multiple things at a time is something I find very fun. You're basically running everything through signal processing, designed to add harmonics in a relatively chaotic way. And what I'm messing with here is a preamp that increases the volume of the signal coming in. A clip, which is a lot like a compressor, except it's very, very aggressive. It really will not let any audio in above a certain volume, and it ends up distorting it to keep it aggressively below that level. And fuzz, which is just a little fun. Oh, now that's a sound I like to hear. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I love the little brassy sounds you can get. How about changing the type of distortion? Warm should make it a little softer, but a little richer. I can have trouble hearing the differences there sometimes. This is sort of animalistic. But I hope it's immediately obvious why I enjoy distortion quite a bit. And a lot of these erratic sounds are coming from the way that the sounds interact with each other as they hit the clip. If I take one out, might change what happens. Or perhaps if we open this EQ again, a little on top of things, but that's okay. Isn't that interesting? So now we've added a significant sound from this oscillator in a way that I don't fully understand anymore. It's just doing that. But I digress. Nothing's been on this ring the whole time. It's bothering me a little bit.
That doesn't seem to be changing a lot. I don't know. This is a little angry. Let's calm the animal down a little bit. It seems to be intermittently going between a very computer sound and a much more creaturely experience. The thing about distortion is it can really take you places, but it can't stand on its own very easily. If I had not set all of this up first, it would be a very simple distortion sound. I like that quite a lot. Let's restart this. Want me to look something up very quickly? Can't quite do that. Let's try. So it would be something along the lines of Oh, well, I've messed it up. Well, it won't stay like that for very long. It's always interesting to me when you have sort of Erlen noise style thing. And it lets you reseed. And that's good for me. But also, it doesn't do anything human. Let's calm this distortion down. I believe folding it might let us get something different. Or not.
Much more calm. Well, maybe not calm, but a softer, more noisy sound as I look at other effects. I think there should be something like this. So, pitch to CV, for example. CV is a modular synthesis term. It stands for control value. And you'll notice, much like the modulator up here, it can be applied to other effects. So I believe, if I take, for example, my white keys, I can put that up there, and then it's sending a pitch. So now this pitch should be setting very specific steps to a control value that I can then plug into perhaps the distortion. And now we see it jumping based on the pitch. It's not doing that much as far as modulation goes. The pitches are relatively close to each other. And the preamp is not making that much change. But it's introducing a bit of strangeness to it. How about the clip, though? We have to be careful with that. Clip's controlling the volume. Let's try an asymmetrical distortion. This must be what I was thinking of. See how fuzz sort of takes everything away. The asymmetry is eating everything. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh, that's interesting. Let's move something into these ring modulators. You know what, actually, since we're distorting everything, let's just move the effects into it. There we go. Oh, my lord. Crunchy indeed. I love the crunch. Let's give it a low pass. A little resonance, not too much to be unsafe. I like it around this area. Just take a bit of that high end off. The cave from Chronicle. Yeah. I remember really liking that movie. I haven't seen it in years. Let's give this one free, right? No, let's keep the length full. Maybe a little flat on the end. Oh, I'm liking where this went. It's growling. Let's really go to the back of the cave then. Oh, that got loud. Join us all in the cave. The cave will too. But what if? We took that one out. Thing very fun about modular synthesis is how destructive it is. I've had this oscillator here the whole time. But you know what? Let's just change it. As a matter of fact, what about this oscillator? What if we weren't doing this with it at all? What if I did audio to CV? Oh, we're so used to seeing these jostling and oscillating green lines. Seeing that as an entire sound wave, a little frightening. Let's slow it down a little bit so we don't harm ourselves. What should we apply this to? What if we apply it to something that's not explicitly a slider? What if we apply it to one of these pitches? That makes a little bit of recursion in there. Who knows where we are with that? I don't know. I don't know what that is. That must be how it splits. That's interesting. Welcome back, Riley. Oh, I'm going to add another compressor. This is harming my ears. I don't know about you. What did happen here? You. Perhaps a lower maximum here. I I do like the bit of rhythmic effects we get from this pitch shifter. It feels a lot more like wind now than a creature. Quarter. If we have a diminished chord. Inversion presets. This is a good tool for making something a little more harmonic. Make it diatonic. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I assume this thing knows what it's doing. I think it's trying to make a chord. Doesn't quite know how. Let's try a major 7. Building a rig is always fun, but it is also very fun once you have a rig to see what's actually there. Wow. What a wonderful shout out from my good friend Riska FGC, known only as Riska FGC. Sound alert for cable to rigs. Cable to railroads isn't active. Well, this is a bit of a rig. It's a little bit too free to be a railroad. I love my two delays. Feedback delay. Or rather short delay. I'm not really
Going all the way into feedback right now.
and long delay. I love them both equally. They are also very different. Let's get these fucking ring modulators out of here. Well, now it sounds very musical without those ring modulators messing up our wonderful chords. I like the augmented. The way the intervals are all the same. In fact, I imagine, since I'm not doing this diatonically, oh, I don't know what that is. Did you know? Fun fact. We tune to middle A. Middle A is tuned usually to 440 Hz, although often 432 Hz has been used in the past. 440 just sounds good with the way that we make music currently. Middle A that's tuned to 440 Hz in MIDI note processing is note number 69. I just thought that was interesting. In our 127 or so notes, the 69th is our tuning note. It's the only note of which I know the frequency off by heart. Although I used to know some very important sub-bass notes. Tuning to 420 is fun too. Ah, yes, 420 69. Never tried that. Imagine it would sound very flat. Or maybe that's just a regular note. I sure can't tell. I don't have perfect pitch.
pitch. It doesn't seem to modulate it on the fly, which is a bit disappointing. Either that or it's too fast and I can't hear. But thankfully, we can just pitch shift it over here. Already getting to 420.69. That's right. You've got to do what's important first. Right here on the Premiere. If you can't prioritize what's important, you're gonna have a lot of problems in life. Alright, well, we don't have a weird S, so let's just draw a circle. I apologize for my circle. Let's try that again. That's good enough. Don't talk to me about circles. I like this. Every time I find myself here, I wonder to myself, next time I do this, how can I possibly make something different? And not just retread the same ground. But I thought that maybe an hour ago? I've never been here before. The beauty of exploration, I think, something to keep it alive, is the feeling that you can't possibly imagine finding something new. Because then when you do find it, it's like you're a kid all over again. Oh, I want to harness something that's going on here. Yes, how could I ever perfectly duplicate? And something they always tell you when running physical modular synthesis is to always run a recording the whole time. Because when you turn a knob, you'll never be able to place that knob exactly where you had it ever again. And those little tiny touches, those imperceptible movements, things that you're not even aware you're doing, those will make it different every time. Just because it's technological doesn't mean it's quantized and perfect. It's the same as how no tree is exactly the same, no human is the same face. You can make something similar. Oh, this EQ isn't going anywhere, is it? What's this doing? Oh, I see you. I see you. Should we put this
It's a little rough on that. Oh, I've made quite the mess of things. Let's change. Simplify this down to the one oscillator. I'm going to do something that may cause a problem. Oh, we have a real splitter. Let's see what this does. Oh. Now, that's not something I was expecting. But I think it's a good sound to end on. I can't really hold all of this on screen in a nice and tidy way. Kind of experiment would this be if I could, honestly. But there it is. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thanks for talking. I'm fond of the wind too. Be sure to stick around later today. We've got Trina's World, which is also a fantastic premise. I may hop over and play video games on a friend of Cable 2 stream. Riley, host of Full Motion Video. We'll see. I don't know. It all depends on her. But I highly recommend catching Trina's World and all other Cable 2 shows. They're I think almost every day now. We're missing Monday, I think. I'm glad it was relaxing. I hope to make some less relaxing streams in the future. But also, we got some very aggressive sounds today, so maybe this is just the sort of thing you like to vibe to. Forbidden Mystery Vault? What do you mean? Those words don't even mean anything to me. Anyway, bye everybody. Tune in to Cable 2. Now, later, next Friday to see me. Bye. I don't know how to end.